Greetings, old school magic players, and welcome to the Four Horsemen. Greetings, old school magic players. Welcome to a Sunday afternoon with the Four Horsemen. I'm here today with John Eckleberry. John, how's it going?
I'm good. Ready to get some commentary in on another match here.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. We're going to be covering our tournament number 12, the first brackets in the quarterfinals. If you are a viewer and you've checked out the previous videos, you'll see a tournament number 12 deck reviews and predictions video that covers all of our tournament 12 top 8 quarterfinalist decks. And that'd be a great video to check out before you watch the actual quarterfinals matches. You can learn more about Four Horsemen, Old School Magic at fourhorsemenmagic.com. And this particular tournament is under Tournaments in Tournament 12. This tournament ran from February 22nd to March 24th with the banner restricted that you see here. Some great prizes and really cool stuff that we give away to our participants and our players. This ran over 4 weeks, and we wrapped this up on March 24th. If you're interested in playing in Four Horsemen, we're actually running our 13th tournament right now. This is running through April 28th, and we're starting week number 2 of this tournament. So our players are playing their group matches, and we've updated the banner restricted here, adding several key cards. All right, John, so let's talk about this quarterfinals tournament 12 match. So this is actually a match with you in it. We've got our top 8 or 9 players here, and we're going to be covering this first bracket, which is Nathan McCulloch versus you, John. And for the overview, it's Ernum Burnham Ball Lightning versus John's mono blue flyers, what he calls his Dr. No deck. Again, we've done detailed deck reviews, but John, check out the red green Ernum Burnham Ball deck and let us know if you remember this match and what you think of the deck build.
Vaguely. It was a little bit ago, but it's we've seen red green aggro a bunch. This one plays a lot of the same cards that I would play. You know, it's got the usual suspects. It's got the Chain Lightnings and the Bloodlusts. It's got the Urnums. It's got the Scavenger Folk to blow up artifacts. It got the Pixies. It's got the Wolves. I really like Wolf. I just watched a bit of the deck tech that you guys all did for Tournament 12 when you were doing predictions.
Yeah.
That just got released today. And Michael made a comment about Wailuli Wolf being, fine, but not great. But, that's a card. I actually like that card. I think that card's pretty good in an aggro shell because it really screws up the combat math for the opponent.
Yeah.
I like Ball Lightning as a card, but I don't know if I like it in this build or not. It's a tough sell to get the triple red, but then also have enough green for... I guess most of his green cards are single green, but the Killer Bees have double green and they need green to pump. So I think maybe I would either play just the Ball Lightning or just the Killer Bees, but not both.
Yeah.
I feel like there were a lot of turns where he had Killer Bees, but he could only pump it once or twice, and it just didn't seem like it had enough value. But other than that, I think his deck's fine. I think it's a lot of good cards. You'll see in the sideboard he's got Concordant Crossroads, which I think is neat. He's got Immolation, which is a really good extra removal spell. He's got Shatterstorm for the artifact decks. He's got Blood Moon, which we haven't really seen enough of. He's got 2 of them main board too. and that can really that can win some matches. I mean, unfortunately, he was paired with me, who's playing a monocolored deck that Blood Moon does nothing against. So it just didn't work out for him on the pair up. But I do think it's a good card in this format. It would have been good if he was paired with somebody else playing multicolored.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I really love the deck picture that Nathan took here with the. He's got an original leather playmat. Do you remember those playmats, John?
I didn't have one, but I think it's one of those ones from Spellground.
Yeah.
They just recently did a re-release of that product. I don't think they're exactly the same, but
yeah. Well,
yeah, they're really cool. It's a neat product. I like it a lot. I see those around from time to time in the old school circuit.
And then I think those are some of the original metal MagicLife counters that Nathan's got featured there as well.
Yeah, you'll see people using those too. I don't think I ever owned one, but I definitely had friends that did, and they're just cool little artifacts that add to the nostalgia of this whole thing. It's kind of like whenever I see somebody playing with like the glass aquarium beads that they use to count life that came with the 4th edition box set. Like it always just reminds me of the good old days.
Yeah, I still have those beads and use them all the time. The other thing that's cool about this deck picture, and I think you might have mentioned this previously, is these look like original Ultra Pro sleeves with the Ultra Pro icon in the lower left-hand corner, the little reflective thing. I think these are like original 90s sleeves.
I think newer Ultra Pro sleeves also still have them, but when I saw them, it really reminded me because that's all you could get.
Yeah.
When I first started sleeving Magic cards, all you could get was sleeves that had the little foil on it, and also all you could get was clear sleeves. So I would actually put the foil on the back, even though that's not where it belongs, so I wouldn't have to look at it when I had my cards in play. But then they started making colored sleeves. I think they made either black or red were the only ones you could get for a while. But those ones, of course, you had to leave the foil on front because the back was opaque for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a really cool red-green build, and Nathan's, I think this is like his second Four Horsemen tournament. I think he started with us in the Pauper Doubleton or something like that, and now he's moving into the rest of the format. So Nathan's definitely evolving as a player, and a lot of our players start with red-green, and it's awesome to see all these great red-green cards together again. All right, John, so you want to make some quick comments about your deck, your Dr. No deck?
It's just mono blue flyers. I mean, it's not that exciting. In the deck tech, 2 things came up. One was Michael was making fun of me for having 61 cards, which I think is totally legitimate. I think cards should just be 60. Like, there's no real reason for me to have done it, other than we just played a bunch of matches and I just kind of kept cutting stuff, and it was time for the tournament, and I just didn't have another card to cut. I would maybe just cut the Knowledge Vault, which is probably the weakest card in the deck.
Yeah, Knowledge Vault is a slow engine. It's not a fast engine draw, and it takes time. And, by the time you need to use it, it may get you 2, maybe 3 cards. The thing that I was noticing about this deck, and something that I experimented with playing some test games with some of the guys, is when you've got this number of islands, there's definitely some opportunities, I think, to mix in some more utility lands. And what I found was when you've got your 2/4 flyers like the Azure Drakes or the Clockwork Avians or even Triskelion, if you have 1 or 2 deserts out, it, just like the Wailuli Wolf, it totally messes with combat math. And, you can end up dealing 3 damage even with a 2/4 flyer if you've got the desert. Or if you have a Serendib Efreet and you have the desert, you can take out their Azure Drake if they have one, which we've seen a lot of that mirror match. Azure Drake and Ghost Ship are like really powerful flyers, and the Serendib can be neutralized by them.
So my I agree with you, and I'll come back to that in just a second. But my 61st card ostensibly that I put on top here is my Talaria, which is just another island, really. I mean, how often are you going to use it to remove banding? But that's my secret island that Dr. No lives on, Dr. No. So I had to have it, and I didn't want to cut it, so that's
Yeah.
why it's in the deck.
Oh, I see.
Also, I got razzed for not playing Ghost Ship in this deck.
Yeah.
Because both Peter and Michael didn't really see the value of Clockwork Avian, but I like having Clockwork Avian because he's a little beefier, and also I think it's really important to have things to cast off of your mana drain mana.
Right.
And that's why I'm playing Azure Drake instead of Ghost Ship, because it's 3 colorless instead of 2.
Right.
And it's why I'm playing the max Clockwork Avians, because it's all colorless mana, and it's easier to cast those things. Peter also is like become anti-Fellwar Stone, which I think is interesting. And it's interesting the different views on that, because, you know, when Michael's talking about it, he's like, well, Fellwar Stone's an objectively good card. Well, it is, because it ramps you. I understand Peter's point of view that maybe he just wants to play slower and just play another land, but I feel like Fellwar Stone's good because it not only does it put you ahead, but if you're playing in the mirror, you can play one and it will add blue. And so, like, if I have 3 lands up and I play one and they don't counter it, then I have 2 blue up again. The reason I wouldn't play something like Desert in this deck is because I want to have 2 blue up for mana drain at all times. Now, I think with mana drain restricted, I probably would play Desert.
Right.
I think it would be good. I think in this build, I just always wanted to make sure that I had 2 blue up if I could help it, because it's just so important to this build. I mean, I think Ghost Ship's a good card, and I realize it exists. I actually would probably just play it in place of these Serendibs.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking exactly.
Because I'm just tired. I'm just tired of the Serendibs doing me damage,
Mm-hmm.
and there's too many matches where they just hang back and can't do anything, and they're a liability, or they get spirit linked, or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm actually in tournament 13. I dropped the dibs for Ghost Ships in this deck. It's a pretty similar deck, but I dropped the dibs for Ghost Ships, and I of course dropped 3 mana drains because I had to for I think 3 amnesias. But
Ooh, yeah.
Anyway,
that's killer. Yeah,
so,
we did some games the other night. What was that? Was that Thursday night or somewhere? And oh my god,
yeah. It's really brutal when you get hit by one.
Oh,
if it's
yeah.
not too late.
It's a mind twist effectively. It is expensive to cast it, but you know, Four Horsemen is a lot slower if you're not playing a really rapid, speedy aggro deck and dropping a card every turn. You're gonna have 4 or 5 cards in your hand at a minimum on turn 6, and you can actually, if you get a Fellwar Stone or even a couple Fellwar Stones, you could theoretically play it on turn 4 if you played a turn 1 Fellwar Stone and a turn 2 Fellwar Stone.
Yeah, that is true. And also, I mean, I don't usually do it, but you can play if you happen to get the workshop. You could play a Fellwar Stone off
Turn
the
1.
Workshop on turn 1.
Yeah, that's
just take
right.
a mana burn, but it's not usually a play that I make, and I usually don't even play the workshop turn 1 anyway because they might strip it. Although we used to be a 4-strip format, now we're a 1-strip format, so that has changed a little bit.
Yeah. I also, back to the Clockwork Avian, I like the fact that you can play a turn 1 workshop if you happen to get that one of restricted card, play the Fellwar Stone, take a mana burn, and actually, if you have another Fellwar Stone and you're going second, you could actually tap your Fellwar Stone and use the other mana, and you could play 2 Fellwar Stones on the first turn if they have a land in play that taps for color.
You can, yeah. And then also it sets you up for a potential second turn, either Clockwork Avian or Triskelion, or if you have the Fellwar, double Fellwar.
Right. Yes.
And also, you know what? All these artifact creatures don't get killed by the Abyss or Ashes to Ashes.
Right.
And so, like, when they're trying to break the line of all of your X4 creatures that they can't get through, when you lose a Ghost Ship and an Azure Drake to Ashes, that feels pretty bad. But that doesn't happen when you have Clockwork Avian out.
Right, and Ashes to Ashes is gaining in popularity, and people are really understanding how powerful that card is, removing, 2 non-artifact creatures and paying 5 life. Yeah, I really like that, Workshop, Fellware Stone. Okay, you take a mana burn on turn 1, but then turn 2 you can play Clockwork Avian, you can play the Knowledge Vault, you could easily play the turn 2 Jaloom Tome as well. So there is ramp that the Fellwares give you. And I do like that, you can have an extra mana to power your Remove Souls and your Boomerangs and your Mana Drains and all that. Plus, you've got those Time Elementals, which we've talked about. And, they're expensive to power and they're tricky to keep in play. But if you can manage to stick one and keep it in play and then you got the mana to power it, it's like control to the, to the extreme.
Yeah, I don't know if this. I mean, I don't think this deck is necessarily optimized. I think 2 colors are probably better than 1 color. I think Peter's blue-red build is probably more dynamic and better than this deck, and we do end up playing in this series. We'll get to that video eventually.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I played this because I wanted to play Mana Drain for the last time, and I wanted to make sure I always had 2 blue up, and I wanted to play just a whole bunch of those promo islands that we had.
Yeah, they look awesome, all the islands.
So I was just like, what deck can I build that plays, 18 to 20 of this card? Okay, let's go. Here's the deck.
Yeah, the deck photo looks fabulous, and also the white borders really pop.
Yeah, they're kind of fun. I tried to play as many white borders as I could. I think the Talaria and the Maze of Ith are the only 2 black bordered cards in the deck, and then maybe a couple sideboard cards.
Cool. Well, your sideboard is also interesting with Old Man of the Sea and flash counters, Recall, Felden's Cane.
Oh, that's the other thing I was going to mention that came up in the video. They were like, well, his sideboard doesn't have any flash floods in it. And I was like, yeah, that was intentional. Like there were other things that I wanted to play, and I kind of realized that flash floods are just not that good. Like there's not that much red stuff that you need to kill with it. Like
yeah,
I don't care
mainly
about
the Rook token is the only
Rook
thing.
Tokens. I got boomerangs. I got time elementals.
Right.
I don't care about any of that.
Right.
I mean, flash flood, I guess, is what are you going to kill with it? A Curd Ape or a Ball Lightning or something? Like nothing particularly good. I actually think that the active Volcano in a red deck is much better than the flash flood against the current meta, because if you see decks like this with all these 2/4 flyers, the active Volcano could just destroy a guy for 1 red,
right?
Or a time elemental or whatever.
Yeah, that's a really good point you make right there. That being able to flash flood, a Curd Ape versus, flash flood a Curd Ape versus being able to active Volcano a Serendip Efreet or a Azure Drake. I mean, that's quite a difference.
Yeah, that's just a huge difference in value. Although, all this being said, it's really funny because my deck this month has both Ghost Ship and Flash Flood in it. And those things, of course, happened long before I saw that video today. But it's funny that they're like, well, these are the 2 things we changed. And I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting, because a month later I did both those things with my build.
Yeah, I mean, that's also one of the reasons why it's so tempting to play anything with red, blue, and Four Horsemen, because in your sideboard you get, the easy option of having 4 flash counters to destroy any, red permanent, and 4 active volcanoes to destroy any blue permanent, and for 1 as an instant, they're just really powerful. All right, and you got a few other cool stuff like Diamond Valley and Island of Whack Whack, Tano's Coffin, some backup Plan B stuff with the Felden's Cane and the Millstone, I guess, in case you come up against Control. So really,
the Millstone is a card that I wished I would have brought in one of our other matches. That I'll talk about it when we actually do the commentary on that match. It would have been good, but I'll tell you, the one of Diamond Valley is just pulled an insane amount of weight both last tournament and this tournament so far.
Yeah.
Like, bringing that, it's so demoralizing. Like, I played against a red-green aggro deck. It was blue-red. A blue-red aggro deck in the new tournament, in Tournament 13. And both games, he just like relentlessly beat me down for the first like 4 or 5 turns, but didn't quite kill me. And then I was able to just start gaining life with Diamond Valley, and I've got a Fountain of Youth in my side in the next tournament. It's not there in this one, but you know, just stabilize, just play all these X4 flyers and gain a little life, and ping all his creatures with a Triskelion, and then just start swinging in. And it's just, it feels so bad when they've played their whole hand, and they've done all the things that they're supposed to do, and they're like, oh well, I just can't quite close the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting insight, and that's also true of cards like Ivory Tower, where you can get really low, and if you get an Ivory Tower or a Diamond Valley, suddenly you can just start gaining life when you were on 1 or 2, and you can make, you can make these really shocking comebacks when that happens if your opponent has aggressively emptied out their hand. So yeah, this is one of the reasons to play cards like Fissure. Fissure is such a powerful instant, and I noticed that in Nathan's deck, he doesn't have Fissures in either his main deck or his sideboard. He does have Blood Moon though.
Fissure's definitely a card I would play if I was playing red, but you make a good point. I mean, he has 4 Blood Moons.
Mm-hmm.
He can turn off things like Diamond Valley with Blood Moon if he wants to. It's just, it's not that good against my deck in general when I have all those islands. So, like, do you still keep it in just to stop Diamond Valley and Mazavith? I mean, I guess you get a 2-for-1 if you play one Blood Moon. It'll neutralize the Factory and the Mazavith and the
yeah, he's got a lot of utility.
Job,
he's got a lot of utility for Blood Moon against you.
But you don't ever want to see a second one, and you also don't want to really see it over something that does damage. You'd rather be Chain Lightninging and Bloodlusting and beating my face in and killing me before I stabilize.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the only 2 lands he really, really cares about in this deck are Mazavith and Diamond Valley. So, you could argue that Fissure would be a really good card, because Fissure can also take out any of your creatures. It doesn't care. Fissure buries the card. It doesn't destroy it, so it can't, bury is like Wrath of God, right? It can't be regenerated.
Yeah, right. Bury is the old keyword for destroying, cannot be regenerated, which I don't know why they got rid of it, really, because they've made new keywords for long strings of words and concepts for a long time, so that you don't have to say, like with haste, you don't have to say, this creature is unaffected by summoning sickness. You can just say, haste.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, like, with Bury, they went backwards, and they're like, oh, we don't want to use that. Like, maybe they thought it was confusing to people.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a great keyword. Like, you're not just dead. You're dead and buried. And you're not coming back.
That's right. All right, cool. Well, good insight on your deck. So let's take a look at the match. Ernum Burnham Ball versus Mono Blue Dr. No. So what John and I are going to do is John's got the video and I've got the video queued up. And John, we'll just be playing simultaneously. So on the count of 3, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, 1, 2, let's go. All right. So John actually recorded this match. You'll see the Shivan Dragon background, which is in one of John's Whereby accounts. And you got John on the left and Nate on the right.
I should have recorded it in my Four Horsemen Whereby room. I don't know why I didn't. This is the one this is my general one I use, and you'll almost always see me playing on that mountain playmat. Until now, I just got a new playmat that I won in a tournament that now I'm hyped to play, so I'm going to start playing on the new one. But most of my videos on YouTube have the mountain playmat and the Shivan Dragon in the background, because clearly there's a color that I favor above the others, which is funny because I'm the blue player in this match, and just, I must hate myself. Why am I playing all these blue cards when I could be playing red cards?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Mountains playmat has become, like synonymous with you. Like you've always played it. No one else really plays that playmat, so it's like your thing.
Well, it's cool when you see there are certain players that like have a mat that they play on, and like like Peter always plays on his oh, what's the name of that legend? I can't remember her name at the moment, but it's a Richard Kane Ferguson mat. He always plays on that, and people seem to be really consistent, and it's funny because then when you see their videos or you see them sitting across the table from you, you're like, oh, it's that guy. It's the
Yeah.
it's the guy that has that mat.
Yeah,
My
that's right.
my current mat, my new mat is a really cool one. It's a reimagining of the Pendelhaven piece by the original artist, but it's on fire, and so it's just everything's on fire, and it's really orange and red. And it's pretty. So
Nice.
I'll be playing on that for a while. And I
So
bought a signed Pendelhaven to go with it, which was cool. So there's a Kurt Ape that he drops, and he's already got a Wailuli Wolf out, and he's already got a Pendelhaven out. So he's gotten 3 damage in, and he's gonna continue to beat in. But I just feel like it's a really uphill battle because like I just played a 3/4 on turn 3. Like, what's he gonna do about that? Like, if he attacks with both his guys, he'll lose a guy. If he only attacks with the Kurt Ape, I can just block it and they'll bounce at best. I mean, he can pump the Kurt Ape with the wolf to make it live, but it doesn't make any damage get through. So, he might have a trick. He might be able to like chain lightning my guy after I block, but like I would still make the trade in this match because I want to get to the mid game. I'm not worried about my dib living. In fact, I don't really even want it to live because I'm just going to lose more life from it. So I'm sure I block here. And then and he probably chains it. In fact, I think I say it to him. I think I say, well, you could chain it if you want to. Oh, there it is. You got it.
Hey, John,
So
what video speed are you playing at? Because I think your video is playing faster than mine.
Is it sped up? Let me see. Playback speed, normal.
Oh, okay.
I'm at
normal.
5 minutes. I'm at 5 minutes and 7 seconds.
Oh yeah, I'm at 3 minutes and 50 seconds. That's weird.
Oh, I must have. Maybe I had it on faster. We can do faster if you want to. So anyway.
No, mine's going normal, just regular speed.
Well, what minutes are you at right now?
I'm at 406.
All right, I'm gonna go back to 406, except for now it's gonna have to be like 415. Okay. So anyway, we're there now. I'm at 425.
Okay.
So anyway, he makes the play. I call it. I'm like, well, if you have chain lightning, you'll be able to kill my guy, but fine, I don't care. I'll block.
Yeah.
And so I do, and he's able to both chain lightning and also he's able to pump his dude to save it. So I lose the dib. He doesn't lose anything, but he does lose the card out of his hand, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then he plays another land, which I feel like when you're on beat him in the face aggro, you probably don't want 4 lands. Like he's already got 2 cards in his graveyard and 2 cards out, so he can't have that many cards left.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just play another dib to replace mine and play the same game.
Well, the other thing, John, is Nathan had to double mulligan. He put 2 cards on the bottom at the beginning of the game. That's why his hand is so low.
Yes, that sucks.
Yeah,
that sucks for him.
Yeah, he had to double mulligan, and he had the scavenger folk with the Pendelhaven, but he used that scavenger folk to get rid of your Felwar Stone to try and slow you down, but he's missing 2 cards. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I mean, your Kurt Ape can become a 3/4. That's pretty strong with the Wailuli Wolf. But you can just get in with the Serendib in the air.
So it's funny. I went from he attacked with both of those guys, and I only went down 1, which means he didn't. I don't know. I don't know what happened that last turn. Either he should have lost a guy, or I should have been at less life, but I don't know. Anyway, so I boomerang there, and I just continue to kind of like screw with him to try to get to the mid game, which already I feel like against an aggro deck, I've already survived enough turns that it's probably not going to be a huge deal. So I counter his Curd Ape that I boomerang to his hand. And then he has a second Curd Ape and gets that one out, and that one lands. I take another damage from Dib.
Right.
And then I think going forward, I just stabilize. You know, I'm going to play probably another 2/4 flyer this turn. And,
right.
You know,
and
keep doing the thing. He's not going to be able to do me any damage, really.
Yeah, so once the Azure Drake comes down with a 4 defense, I mean, he could get an Ernemgen that could help him, and especially with that Wailuli Wolf, the Ernemgen can be a 5/6. Now would be the time to play it because you don't have your mana for Remove Soul or Mana Drain, but it doesn't look like he has it. It would be a great card if he did.
I don't remember what the one card in my hand left is. I guess we'll see in a minute, but
I mean, he is running 4 Ernems.
Yeah. He is running them, but I don't remember if he ever casts one. So he asks if he needs to bump his Curd Ape, and I'm like, no, this thing's only a 2/4. They'll just bounce. So he's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, it is an Ernem. Look at that. All right.
There's an Ernie. There's an Ernie right there.
All right. So maybe he can turn this around and start catching some angles here, but.
And at this point, I'm probably kicking myself for boomeranging a dumb Curd Ape when I could have waited to remove Soul and Ernemgen or whatever. But
yeah,
it's just all about the tempo. Like with the blue, I feel like you're just trying to out tempo them and time walk them by making them recast the same things over and over.
Right.
Well, in the meantime, you're just beating it in the air. I'm gonna attack with both of these because I must have a boomerang. I seem to remember. So I just don't care. So I just go in for 5 and get him down to 9.
Yeah, that's a big hit in the air. And yeah, looks like you got a Triskelion because you were tapping 6.
Oh yeah, and I got a Trike too.
Dang, so you just have everything you need.
Yeah, so it just doesn't matter. I'm gonna be able to kill him before he kills me. So presumably something got forest walked just now. I don't remember if we bothered to note it or not. I assume one of my flyers got it.
Yeah. Well, okay, so if he attacks with...
Oh, there it is. It's the Drake.
Yeah, Drake with the forest walk with the dice. Okay, so he's thinking about, all right, if I attack with, let's say, the Curd Ape and the Ernem, holding the Wailuli Wolf back, well, I mean, technically he could just attack with everybody, and then he can Pendlehaven the Wailuli Wolf if he needs to. But I would have held the Wailuli Wolf back to try and save my Ernem, maybe. Because well, I guess he could still use the counters, but then it wouldn't take all the damage.
So I don't think this is what I do, but what I should do is I should block the Curd Ape with the Trike.
Right.
And then if he tries to pump the wolf, I can ping it. And my Curd Ape or my Trike will still be a 3/3 and still kill the ape. And then just take the 4 from the Ernem or boomerang it if I have one.
Right.
I don't remember what I actually do, though. I guess we'll see here in a second. Maybe future me is smarter than past me. I don't know.
I mean, the truth is that unless he has a Bloodlust in hand, you could actually let all the damage through if you really wanted.
I could just take it on the chin. I just don't need to. And then also, if he has a Bloodlust, if he Bloodlusts one of his guys, I will also just ping it. Right. Because it'll only have 1 life.
Right.
So, Bloodlust is really bad here.
Yeah.
Trike's really pretty busted, in this format. It's a hard card to play around. You know what? I think I remember. He does have a Bloodlust, and what he does is he Bloodlusts the Trike so that it'll die. And then I end up just shooting, I think blocking something and shooting him, and then letting it die and trade with whatever.
That's an interesting move. Yeah, because he knew that the Bloodlust was useless with your Trike unless he plays it on the Trike.
So I shoot him for 3, and I boomerang,
Oh.
and I block something, and I boomerang the trike, so that I get to play it again.
Oh my
which
gosh.
is just gross. Which is gross.
That just shows you the power of boomerang right there.
And then it's game over now because I've got 5 in the air plus another 3 from the trike, so he's dead.
Man, that's rough.
Yeah, it's funny. I was gonna boomerang probably like the Urnham, but then when he played the Bloodlust, I was like, nah, I can just get the trike back, and so I get in for 5 there, put him to 1, and then I cast a trike and kill him with it.
Boom. All right. Well,
Yeah.
let's let the video play while these guys sideboard, and let's go back to the PowerPoint slides and the whereby, and let's take a look and see what could Nathan sideboard here. Now, this shows us where Nathan forgot about active volcano, and if he had 4 active volcano in his deck,
it'd be very good against my deck for sure.
Yeah, he could just sideboard out the 4 bloodlust, and he could put in the 4 active volcano, or he could do a couple of maybe those 2 killer bees and a couple of bloodlusts, and put in the 4 volcano, and it would just make.
I think I'd take out the 2 killer bees and the 2 blood moons for the 4 volcanoes if he had them.
If he had them, right.
Run right at me and not care.
But since he doesn't have those,
yeah, it's tough.
It really limits his deck. I mean, he didn't see much utility land. He did see workshop, so he might put in the blood moons. And it looks like you guys are shuffling up, so I don't even think you need to sideboard too much.
I like the one of workshop fine, because if it doesn't show up, I'm not that upset about it, but if it does show up early, it can give you some busted starts where
yeah
stuff. That was another thing that the guys had mentioned. They're like, oh, why is he even bothering to play it? You'll eventually get to 6 mana. It's like, yeah, sure, but don't you want to be able to like have an accelerated start sometimes for no reason and still be able to hold up 2 blue? Like, it seems good to me. Like, why not play it? It's just 1 land.
Yeah.
I mean, so many of our cards on our restricted list that are 1/ofs are still putting in so much work in this format. Diamond Valley, Ivory Tower, whatever card we were just talking about, Workshop. Like, they're still really powerful when you see them. And I can't, I don't know about odds, but like, I can't tell you the number of games that I've played recently where somebody drops a turn 1 Ivory Tower against me, even though it's restricted and there's only 1 in their deck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it happens a lot, and when it happens, it's a game changer. Like, it can really swing a game if they, gain a ton of, especially if you're playing like aggro or something. I don't care so much playing the deck I'm playing right now, because I'm like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. I'll just eventually chip in. I don't care how much life you gain,
right?
Or run them out of cards or whatever. But
when it comes to Nathan's sideboard here, I think what I would do is I would take out everything that's slow, and I would just go all in on trying to damage you fast. So I would put in my 4 immolations and plan to put them on my Curdapes and Urnhams, and I would take out the killer bees and probably the 2 killer bees and the 2 blood moons, and just put in the 4 immolations and hope that I can just speedily get to you before you can get your 4/4s. Also, if you put in the immolations, he can use immolation and bloodlust. It is a 2-for-1, or he can use immolation and chain lightning. But at least he has a way then to get rid of your big fat 2/4 flyer guys.
Yeah, and it'll kill anything. I mean, I'm not playing Ghost Ship, but if I was playing Ghost Ship, and you were giving it the minus, it might be enough to kill it. And not have me be able to regenerate.
Right.
Like if I block with a Curdape or something, he can chain lightning or immolation. I don't know if that's what he actually did, though. I don't know that he sees any sideboard cards at all when he's playing against me, but we'll see if he does. It looks like I mulligan.
Yeah, you're taking a mulligan here. And of course, Nate had.
Man, I don't think I had to mulligan a ton in this tournament, but when I was playing in tournament 13 against the aggro player that I mentioned earlier, I had one game where I mulled to 5, and I still was able, and I didn't do anything for like 5 or 6 turns, but like I was still able to like dig myself out of the hole once I started playing cards, and that's a testament, I guess, to both the resilience of the blue deck, but also if you play aggro, like you have to be able to seal the deal. Like you have to be able to kill them in the first 5 or 6 turns, and if you don't, you're probably gonna lose.
Yeah, it's really part of the strength of the blue flyers deck, along with the robots. I saw a flash of some of your cards when you were shuffling there, and it looks like you sideboarded in your Old Man of the Sea. So he's going to have a real hard time with all those weenies with the Old Man out there.
Yeah, Old Man seems like a good thing to have in my deck against all those little guys. And Old Man and Immolation would be kind of funny together, because then you could steal stuff with 4 power. Like, that might be a thing to do in a blue-red deck.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Looks like you're taking the second mulligan here.
Oh, so I mulliganed twice in this matchup, too. That's funny. I was thinking about a T13 match, but yeah, I guess I did it here as well. Well,
while you're shuffling up there, John, let me just quickly flash your deck. So you probably sideboarded out maybe the time elementals and sideboarded in the Old Man. Is that probably what you did?
Yeah, if I play against red at all, I just get rid of the time elementals, because they just get chain lightning.
Yeah,
they stink. So I just get rid of those, and then I probably got rid of like Knowledge Vault because it's really slow.
Mm-hmm.
And then I imagine that I brought in the Old Men and the Diamond Valley. I might have even brought in the Coffin and then like sided out a land or something.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe not, because he's not playing Rook Egg for some reason. If he was playing Rook Eggs, I would bring in the Coffin as an extra answer to that. But here we go. He's got a good start again.
Yep.
He gets out there with the turn 1 Taiga Kurdate.
Yep.
Turn 2 Scavenger Folk for any artifacts I play. Like,
yeah,
that's
pretty
deck's
good.
Working.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, he can slow, if you get your Fel Wars, he can get rid of those, but he'd be wiser to save them for the Clockwork Avians. Of course, he didn't see a Clockwork Avian in Game 1, just the Triskelion, and the Scavenger Folk's not good for Triskelion, obviously. Okay, so he's just coming in. Oh, and look at there. There's an early Bloodlust.
Look at this Bloodlust. Bloodlust.
All right, so he got in for 4,
down to 11 after my turn 2 going into turn 3, like down to 11. That's tough. And then I'm like, do you even want to play Dib at that point? I guess. Right. There's a Dib.
John, you should take a note here. I mean, the viewers that are watching can see your entire hand every time it's your turn.
I think it's kind of fun for the viewer. It's fine. I don't really care. I mean,
but your opponents can see that too during matches. Is my point.
I thought about changing my camera setup, but like, I don't really care that much. Like, most of the time I'm gonna win on the strength of whether or not I play my cards in the right order.
Yeah.
Not whether or not I know what I've got, but. Well, I guess with blue, maybe there's a little bit of mystery to not wanting them to know if you have a mana drain.
Yeah, I like Solve the Boomerang and stuff like that.
I don't remember if I block here or not. I mean, I'm already down to 11. I must block the Curd Ape, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I block the Curd Ape, and he maybe doesn't Chain Lightning it.
Yeah, and here's an example of where I know it's great to get in that 5 damage, but if he had just saved the Bloodlust for this moment, he could actually... Oh, he's got another Bloodlust. Oh, look at that. So,
that's rough, man.
But he chose to Bloodlust the guy you didn't block. I'm really shocked.
I think that's better. I think it's better to just do me damage. Like, that's the path he's on. And then I take another one from Dib, right? So now I'm at 5.
Yeah. So he's just planning to go for the damage. He elects not to kill the Dib, which he could have done. And now you take 1 per turn, so it's a 5-turn clock. Unless you get Diamond Valley. Or you grab
Yeah,
a
Diamond Valley will help here, or maybe I end up like boomeranging my dib or something so I don't die. I don't remember, but this is kind of ballsy. I'm at 5, right? But I'm pretty sure I attack.
wow.
I'm like, yeah, whatever. All he has is his 1/1.
Well, you got the
and I
Maze of
have a
Ith,
Maze of Ith.
and you can just you can Maze of Ith him after combat, huh?
Oh, in fact, I end up mazing the dib so I can block with it, which is funny.
That's smart.
Um,
And so you can do
I
that,
guess
right?
that's bad if he has ball lightning though. If he plays ball lightning here, I'm gonna regret that.
Right, but you won't die to it because you'll just trample for 2. But oh, and your boomerang. Oh, you decided to boomerang him.
It ended turn, so I didn't take the damage from it.
Oh,
I must have another, I don't know, something to play. I
there's
don't know.
There's the
Diamond Valley.
Shit, now he's really going to hope he has his Blood Moon. Yeah, so Blood Moon would be absolutely fantastic here because 3 of his lands would become mountains, including that Diamond Valley.
I think it's funny that I wasted a boomerang to save 1 point of damage. I don't actually think that's worth it, but I guess every point of life against, this other deck is valuable.
Now he's in a real predicament because he can block 1 and maze 1, and eventually you can just Diamond Valley your dib and gain 4 more.
What am I doing? I'm insane. All right, so I get in there for 3, and then I maze it after combat damage.
Right.
And I still don't have. I guess I just don't have. You know what? This is funny. I don't have 4 mana. I have 5 lands, but I only have 3 mana. So I bet I'm sitting on like a bunch of 4-drops that I can't play.
Well, we can see your hand. You got 2 Serendibs. It looks like a Remove Soul.
What else?
I think you have.
I think there's a Remove Soul in there.
Remove Soul, Boomerang. Yep.
So maybe I don't have any 4-drops to play, which is fine because I can't play them. So there's the Remove Soul for that. And then he still, I guess, doesn't attack because he doesn't want to lose his guys.
Right, yeah. There's no point in attacking. So it looks like you're going to go ahead and Diamond Valley your... Nope, you're taking it.
I thought about it. I must have forgotten to take a dib damage or something. He must have been like, I think you're at 3, and I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Oh, yeah.
So then I gain 4... And then I think I play another one because that's all I draw in this game is dibs.
Wow.
And I just keep doing the same thing. I just keep playing dibs and then eating them, and then eventually I must get a threat of some sort. I don't know. Let's see.
Man, you being able to attack with the dibs and then Maze of Ith them after combat is extremely strong. Man, Nate just started off... Nate started off so powerfully here, and yeah, you're really seeing the power of all the blue flyers and combining these utility lands like Maze of Ith and Diamond Valley that just completely compromises the aggro weenie strategy.
So now the Diamond Valley has gotten me back up to 11 life, so I just don't really. There's another dib because it's all I can draw.
Oh man,
I really just want to draw like an Azure Drake or a Clockwork Avian or something. But that's okay. This seems to be serving me fine.
Yeah, you got to feel for Nathan here. It's just like you're just like in total control of this game, and he's also kind of mana screwed. You've got 2, 4, 6, you got 7 lands, and he's got 3. So he probably has earned.
Well, up until the last couple turns, though, I've only had 3 mana to work with, and then I eventually did get mana 4 and 5. I mean, the Maze and the Diamond Valley don't add mana, so.
Well, he just top decked the mountain there.
Yeah, he just dropped land number 4, so he can finally play Earnham now if he has one.
Well, you could also see the way he played it, John. He drew it and played it immediately, so you could tell he's really been desperate for land because he pulled that off the top guaranteed. Okay, so mazing the ape.
Yep.
Getting in for
one, I guess.
one.
There's the Urnum.
Oh, and you just flashed. You just flashed your hand. You got.
I flashed my boomerang. I'm like, do I have a remove soul? No, but I have a boomerang.
You've got.
I'll just boomerang it.
It looks like you've got double boomerang.
I think I boomerang it at end of turn, or maybe I do it later. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you've got two boomerangs.
Why did I not just do it at end of turn? It seems like I would have just got rid of it then. I don't know why I didn't. I guess I just got too much mana and nothing to do with it.
So you're getting in for 3 more with the dib.
Maybe I want my dib to get Forest Walk. I don't know. All right. So, not that it matters.
Okay, so he can attack with Ape, Scavenger Folk, and Urnum, but he's only going to get through for 3 damage here. But you've got the boomerang. So
I boomerang the dib.
The Urnum.
Or the Urnum. And I maze the Ape.
Yeah.
And I take 1.
Oh man,
it's just so depressing. Like he's going full force, attacking with all his stuff, and he gets 1 damage in a turn.
Well, you know, Michael has been saying that we should ban all the restricted cards for this reason.
Well, we could. They're pretty powerful. Like, you know, we've talked about this in this video. Like, each one of the restricted cards when it shows up is pretty good. Like that Singleton Maze of Ith's pretty good.
Well, my argument is the same as yours. We can't ban everything. The format's already small enough in terms of the card pool. And the other thing is there are answers for all of these utility lands. There's Desert Twister, there's Fissure, there's Blood Moon, there's Blight. All of those, 3 colors have answers for land destruction. So
yeah, you don't see Blight a ton, but I like it. I think that there's maybe a black control deck that could arise.
All right, but your Azure Drake is out now, and it's looking like curtains for Nate here. Because you're still able to maze or attack and maze, and now you've got double, 4 defense blockers. And you still got the Diamond Valley.
And he did not elect to, it's funny, he did not elect to recast the Urnum last turn. He instead cast the Pixies. I'm not really sure why.
Well, he may have a Bloodlust or a Chain Lightning or something like that in hand. And maybe he thought you were going to be dropping like an artifact creature or something, and I don't know. Yeah, I guess he figures you're going to be Maze of Ithing the Urnum anyways, and he doesn't want to give Forest Walk, perhaps, but you've got flyers. I don't know. Yeah, that's a really weird. Oh, here's a Ball Lightning.
So there's a Ball Lightning, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, your maze is tapped too, so okay, so he's coming.
And my maze is tapped. I'm like, oh, I guess I gotta block that. So I probably block the Kurt Ape and the Ball Lightning.
If you didn't have Diamond Valley, you'd be dead here.
No, I wouldn't be dead.
Oh wait, sorry, you're at 6. He's at 3.
Yeah.
I had the life switched.
I'd still live, but I'm like, I don't really want to take that damage, so I guess I probably boomerang the Ball Lightning.
Oh
yeah, the Ball Lightning. And then kill the Pixies and kill the Apes, and he gets in for 1 damage.
Damn, that's brutal. Oof, that's so rough. Oh my god. And he had to take damage from the City of Brass just to play that Ball Lightning. But that was also, look at what's in your graveyard. 3 boomerangs, 3...
Well, all I drew, it's so funny. There's all these cards in your deck, but all I drew was like Serendibs and boomerangs. Like I drew 3 of each.
Oh my gosh.
And didn't draw like any of the other cards really in my hand.
Look at that. He's got 3 Urnums in what's that? Oh, he's got Shatterstorm. He put in Shatterstorm. Why did he sideboard that in?
I'm not sure what he thought he was going to blow up with it. Maybe just early. I don't know.
I think he would have been much better off. He would have been much better off sideboarding in those immolations to pump up his dudes. Like an immolation on a Kurt Ape on turn 2 would be freaking great. You got a 4/1 attacker on turn 2. That's awesome.
Well, you know he did put in. Oh no, I'm thinking of the Tournament 13 deck. So the blue-red deck sided in 4 Dandans against me, which I thought was funny. He never saw one and played it, but so that's so he just showed me Whirling Dervish, which is, you know, a fine card, but not really, doesn't really do anything in this matchup.
No, Whirling Dervish is.
So there you have it. I mean, it's just all about just stabilizing. Like, take it on the chin early, and then just stabilize, and then. And by the mid game, like, if I'm not dead, like, I just felt like I was in total control of that game the whole time. I never really thought I was going to lose.
Yeah. All right. Well, so Nathan versus John. John takes it 2-0. So John, you'll be proceeding on to the semifinals for Tournament 12, and we'll be covering the other 3 matches in our forthcoming videos. All right, so that's Tournament 12 quarterfinals match number 1. Thanks for covering this with me, John. And it's cool that it was your game, because you've got a lot of insight into the decks and the game itself. Appreciate you commentating, and we'll see everybody.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, John. We'll see everybody next time. Cheers.